Okay, folks, I'm back. And if you had any questions, come bug me. Um, sorry, I'm not wearing a brighter color shirt. But anyways, so now, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce my good friend and a long time inspiration to me. Is a man you might find around town playing with a band called the Dublin Rakes, or one of his own projects called the Crackpots, or you might find him in a theater. You might find him performing with Honolulu Theater for Youth. These are all parts of his mini life. You might find him wandering the great American continent, doing his thing. But right now we have him here, and he's got a special show for you he put together. And so here we have James McCarthy.
Come fill up your glasses with whiskey and beer. Here's to your health and all of good cheer. To your sisters and brothers, and may they live long. Come fill up your glasses and join in the song. Let the men drink a health to their sweethearts and wives. The women, being willing, will treat them likewise. May their pleasures be many, may your troubles be few. May you cherish the day you made one out of two. And here's to our children, and let us prepare a world where they'll live free from sorrow and care. A world where goodwill among all is the law. A world without hatred, a world without war. Thanks very much for joining us here tonight. So it's kind of appropriate that we start. So there's going to be a lot of different moods to tonight, and they're going to try to cover the entire spectrum of my experience in Irish music and most people's experience in Irish music. Some of them are really quiet songs, some of them are really rowdy songs. In Irish pubs, when there's an a cappella song going on, it's absolutely quiet. And the bartender, if somebody's talking, will tell them to hush. And if they don't hush, then they get to leave. So that's not a warning by any chance, but it gives you an idea of what it takes. So this is appropriately a song. We're going to start with a song about whiskey. And in this song, there are many Irish names for whiskey: the creature itself, the pure, the drop, holy water. And we'll have a couple of songs about whiskey. So this is called Stick to the Creature. Come, quacks and newspapers, you're cutting your capers about curing the vapors, the scratch and the gout. With your medical notions, your serums and lotions, upholding your notions, you're mighty put out. Who can tell the true physic of all that's pathetic and pitch to the devil, crime, colic, and spleen? You will know what I think if you take a big drink with your mouth to the brink of a jug of poteen. So stick to the creature, the best thing in nature, for sinking your sorrows and raising your joys. There's no medication, no dose in the nation can give consolation like poaching me boys. As a child in the cradle, my nurse with her ladle was filling her mouth with a notion of pep. When a drop from the bottle fell into me throttle, I capered and scrambled clean out of her lap. On the floor I lay crawling and screaming and bawling, till my father and mother were called to the fore. All sobbing and sighing, they feared I was dying, but soon found I only was crying for more. So stick to the creature, the best thing in nature, for sinking your sorrows and raising your joys. Oh Lord, they would chuckle, the babes in their truckle, if only they'd suckle on poaching me boys. Through my youthful accretion and times of depression, this childhood impression still clung to my mind. And at school or at college, the basis of knowledge I never could grasp till with whiskey combined. As older I'm growing, time's ever bestowing on Ireland's potation a flavor so fine. Oh, well, they may lecture on Jove and his nectar, itself is the only true liquid divine. So stick to the creature, the best thing in nature, for sinking your sorrows and raising your joys. Oh Lord, it's no wonder, but lightning and thunder weren't made from the plunder of poaching me boys. Come, maidens pathetic, with a lover's athletic for a liquid cosmetic. You can't beat the drop with a glow to your cheek. It would make your heart leap. It would stop a young stallion or cure an old cob. While the mouth you would drool be reduced to a fool. You'd click up your heels and you'd peel to the buff. And it's you'd be athletic while he'd be pathetic. If only you had a few drops of the stuff. So stick to the creature, the best thing in nature, for sinking your sorrows and raising your joys. There's nothing like whiskey to make maidens frisky. It soon separates all the men from the boys. So these next few songs are from an Irish song cycle that I wrote on one of the CDs is over there for sale. Now's the New Later. Tunji helped me record those. And this first song is about leaving Ireland during the Great Hunger, right? People call it a famine. It wasn't a famine. It was pretty much an intentional starvation. And when they got here, there was so much disease that the people were quarantined. Some were just left off on a wild, windy shores of Labrador or at the mouth of the St. Lawrence River because their passage was paid to the New World. And once they got to Labrador, the mouth of the St. Lawrence River, then they could be let off. So there was 30,000 of them there with typhoid and cholera and stuff. We think we have it too. So for a little bit, this is going to be, it's going to get kind of, the Irish like to get sad. These are songs I wrote based on my experience in the tradition. But then we'll pick it up in a bit. You watch your sisters dying down, the Beatles wreck your home. Heard your own voice crying, thought it better far too wrong. Then to gamble with the Katie's, all the reaper, all the crown. And dawn dark in the morning, laid your passage down. Laid your passage down. Into the dark and dank you slipped for 8 weeks and a day. All the ones beside you, yeah, they died along the way. They died of famine, fever, and they died for lack of hope. They died from the poison at the end of the road. Yeah, at the end of the road. Slipped into the ocean like a crop that had gone bad. You stepped off to America, the only friend you had. Then for the dark days, dark as you had seen, they threw a fence around you. Yeah, they shouted quarantine. Yeah, you stood in blind amazement to have come across the sea and a prisoner in a country dedicated to the free. Yeah, you stood right there in Canada without shirt or suit or soap. You felt like you had finally come to the end of the road. Yeah, the end of the road. Hang on to your hope, my friend. It's the end of the road. Thanks. So I grew up in Pennsylvania. In my hometown was a guy that was, he wasn't Irish, but he was a big part of the civil, about the Battle of Gettysburg. I went, after my mom passed, I went with my dad to Gettysburg for the day. And we were standing at Pickett's Charge, and I found out later, it was almost exactly the same time and exactly the same temperature as when Pickett's Charge happened. And I had this amazing, powerful emotion in me. And then years later, I was thinking about it, and this song came. This song is written from the point of view of an Irish soldier at the top of Cemetery Ridge, watching 12,000 Confederates coming across a mile of open field. For 2 days shot and sword and steel had fed the Martian beast, but on the third it thirsted still as the sun streaked red in the east. We knew that we would fight them, but we never would have guessed how many lay before us when the sun died in the west. In the fields of Pennsylvania, where the land is rich and good, death drew a drink like none before on that third day of blood. From Carolina, Tennessee, and the Old Dominion state, they shouldered up their weapons, boys, and sealed their nation's fate. Fly all fear and trepidation, do misgivings rise and go. Come courage and surround us as we face the grim-eyed foe. In the fields of Pennsylvania, where the golden flowers grow, the air was still and heavy, and no bird was heard to call. The sun flung down its hammer without mercy on us all. Everyone among us was sweltering in our sleeves as they set out across the field, wheat waiting to be sheaved. All the gray coats moved in endless lines like tides across the sands. We waited for our orders with our rifles in our hands. All the cannons tossed them cruelly like things of bone and rag. Their comrades died on every side. Their courage never lagged. We knew it as they knew it. They were marching into hell, and as one man they broke their ranks and screamed their rebel yell. The cannon fire, it split the earth. The gunfire cracked the sky, and like wheat field at the harvest, they lay down and rose to die. Some flitted up across the stones and grabbed us by our coats. They threw down shot and bayonet and grappled for our throats. But we were all the man for them, and so at last prevailed. We pushed them back across the wall. Lee's mighty stroke had failed. And as we counted up our dead, I stopped to watch them go. Wounded, worn and weary, with painful steps and slow, I felt a great elation that we had withstood their blow. But I knew that but for fortune's fling, I too might that way go. You may sing of the Fianna and all the great heroes, but courage and blind loyalty the world may never know. As those young men from the Southland who left their blood to flow, in the fields of Pennsylvania, where the golden flowers grow. Fly all fear and trepidation, the misgivings rise and go. Come courage and surround us as we face the grim-eyed foe in the fields of Pennsylvania, where the golden flowers grow. The next song after this is a pretty heavy one too, so I'm gonna lighten this up. So I don't get to go to Ireland, but I get to play with a lot of great Irish musicians. I was fortunate to have a great Irish band and still be part of a great Irish band, and to be friends with probably one of the greatest, currently the greatest, like Shawnee in Ireland, whose name is Derek Warfield, who's been at it for 50 years, who's like just a walking encyclopedia. But I always still have the desire to go back to Ireland. I'm leaving here by Tuesday. I'm packing up my things, my hat, my boots, my jumper, and my extra guitar strings. I'm going across the ocean, not that anybody cares. I'm gonna spend all of the summer in the land of my forebears. Tired of causing people and DJs in the clubs. I wanna hear live music like they got there in the pubs. And maybe if I'm lucky, I will meet with Colin there. I'm gonna spend all of the summer in the land of my forebears, where the wind flies free across the Atlantic Ocean. Give up my head to the wild Celtic notions. Maybe I will find her in Kerry or in Clare. When I spend all of the summer in the land of my forebears. It's all right to clap along, by the way. Yeah, this time I was in Ireland. I went there on my own, and somehow the gods were with me, and with the girl from at home. Yeah, rubies on her lips, and grave and darkened hair. I hope that I will see her in the land of my forebears, where the wind flies free across the Atlantic Ocean. Give up my head to the wild Celtic notion. Maybe I will find her in Kerry or in Clare. When I spend all of the summer in the land of my forebears. Leaving here by Tuesday, I'm packing up my things, my hat, my boots, my jumper, and my extra guitar strings. Yes, I'm going across the ocean, not that anybody cares. I spend all of the summer in the land of my forebears, where the wind flies free across the Atlantic Ocean. Give up my head to the wild Celtic notions. Maybe I will find her in Kerry or in Clare. When I spend all of the summer, spend all of the summer, spend all of the summer in the land of my forebears. I'm going across the ocean. Gonna spend some time in Ireland. we'll do another one like so. So now you're in the clapping part. So now we have to entice you to say something. This is one of the. I had a conversation with Arlo Guthrie one time. He said, "I said, so you're so good at getting people to sing along. What do you do?" I just make myself look more ridiculous than they could possibly be, and then everybody feels comfortable. So this song is called Black Velvet Band. Black Velvet Band. And in one part of the song, it said, "And her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You think she was queen of the land." And you say, and she was. What do you say? And she was. Yeah, like the Talking Head song. Just think of the. And the humidity. As I was walking down Broadway, not intending to stay very long, I met with a frolicsome dancer as she came tripping along, and her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. Oh, what she took out of her pocket, and she stuck it right into my hand. On the very first day that I met her, bad luck to the black velvet band. And her eyes, they shone like diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Before judge and jury the next morning, the both of us did appear. A gentleman claimed his jury, and the case against us was clear. And her eyes, they shone like diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. 7 long years transportation, right down to Van Diemen's Land, far away from my friends and relations, to follow the black velvet band. And her eyes, they shone like diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. And her eyes, they shone like diamonds. Yeah, you think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Good job. Let's see what else we got. What do we got? So there's some kids here, right? Yes? Or all of you are young at heart. Okay. Never grew up. I was scheduled to play at a pub in Boston, actually, Cambridge, Massachusetts, on September 10th, 2011. I was scheduled to play on September 11th, 2011, and I was talking to them on September 10th. I said, it's 9/11 tomorrow, 10th anniversary. They said, yeah, we want to do something, but we don't know what to do. Do you have anything that you could think that would be, appropriate? And I didn't, so I wrote this song. And I know the lower part of New York, partially because I was arrested when I was in college for painting the statue of Teddy Roosevelt in front of the Museum of Natural History. I came over here from Derry in the year of '83. The fighting and the troubles, it got too much for me. When Bobby Sands died and they bombed the bus, I had to get away. Thought I'd find more peace and quiet over in America. And I got a job like my granddad did after another war. And I wore the badge and the coat of blue along the Hudson shore. And I walked the blocks from 5 Points up to West 4th Street. They were memorizing every sidewalk, crack every face and every street. And I found no peace and quiet within the traffic's hum. I could not forget the troubles of the place where I'd come from. I dated women here and there, but none that would quite do, until I met Bridget Jenkins, and you know what they say is true, that when you meet the one for you, no other can compare, and our love never faded with the graying of our hair. Yeah, we walked the blocks from 5 Points up to West 4th Street, laughing on the sidewalk and skipping to our own beat. And I found my peace and quiet within the traffic's hum. I forgot about the troubles of the place where I'd come from. She worked for years in an office at the WTC. I always liked the feeling she was watching over me. There's not a one of you that's listening, don't know what I'm about to say. The planes came in, the towers came down. They took my love away. And I stumbled up from 5 Points up to West 4th Street. There was ash on every sidewalk, crack and pain on every street. And I lost my peace and quiet, though there was no traffic's hum. And I found myself wondering, which way does trouble come? They try to make me bitter. They say I should be mad, but I'm not the only one who lost the only love he had. From Baghdad to Londonderry and to the Hudson shore, the nearest lost are the dearest cost and the highest price of war. I still walk the block from 5 Points up to West 4th Street. I know every sidewalk crack, every face on every street, and I find some peace and quiet within the traffic's hum. But I find myself wondering, which way does trouble come? Thank you. So this next song is another song about whiskey, kind of inspired by the second one I sang. It's called Clandestine Distilleries, and it's put together by phrases that were made by the Dublin Rakes when we played every Saturday for 12 years at what was then O'Toole's Irish Pub, is now Black Shamrock Tavern. So Clandestine Distilleries is making moonshine, or in Ireland it's called poitín. And clandestine distilleries, nocturnal fermentation. And the phrase spookier than Jesus comes, on the Snake Road over there, there used to be this, going down to Mokalia, Waialua, you come down the side of the hill, there was this telephone pole, and the vines had grown up it and then went out the wires, so that looked like Jesus. So we were talking about how spooky that was if you go in there at night and you suddenly see Jesus by the side of the road. So that's why it says it's spookier than Jesus. So not everybody gets that reference, but you guys are good. Jason, could I bring the guitar down in the monitor? Okay, thank you. Oh, and at the very end, there's an amen. You're welcome to join in on that. So in Ireland, the phrase holy water the word whiskey comes from the term ishkabaha, and it can be translated as holy water or the creature, which kind of sums up Irish psychology. More on that later. Well, how it all got started sitting in the midst of time. You drink that crashed 1,000 bikes and there's 10,000 rhymes. Whatever was the reason, be it profane or divine, it's better than any drink made by the 10 to say all rhyme. Clandestine distilleries will make our nation free, from the great Atlantic Ocean to the rolling Irish Sea. There's dew upon the mountain, the preachers and the crags will be drinking holy water, the St. Peter packs our bags. If you think you're all the man for it, you're in for a surprise. It'll backward bend your knees and grow hair between your eyes. It'll liquefy your spleen and wake the snake inside your spine. It's spookier than Jesus. It tastes like turpentine. Nocturnal fermentation made in empty earth. There's no potation like it's found upon this earth. Nocturnal fermentation is a well of endless mirth. This savior of the nation, it's priceless in its worth. You can brag about the bubbly brew you felt with your belly to the bar. You can gab about the great beef goop you gripped on your tour along the Loire. Just give me taste that's made in haste, from twigs to paste and tar, and brewed in total secrecy and bogged beneath the stars. Clandestine distilleries make our nation free, from the great Atlantic Ocean to the rolling Irish Sea. Dew upon the mountain, the preachers and the crags will be drinking holy water, St. Peter packs our bags. You can brag about the bubbly brew you felt with your belly to the bar. You can gab about the great beef goop you gripped on the tour along the Loire. Just give me taste that's made in haste, from twig to paste and tar, and brewed in total secrecy and the bog beneath the stars. Clandestine distilleries will make our nation free, from the great Atlantic Ocean to the rolling Irish Sea. There's dew upon the mountain, the preachers and the crags, who's drinking holy water, and St. Peter packs our bags. Nocturnal fermentation, it's the well of endless mirth, the savior of the nation, and cleansing in its worth. Nocturnal fermentation, the well of endless mirth, it's the savior of the nation, and it caused the virgin birth. Amen. Well, I didn't get an answer if there were any kids. I saw a few around. Yes, it's, are you Irish? Mom, are we Irish? Be quiet and drink your whiskey. Oh, so my friend Peter was walking along. He's on the strand there in Dingle. He's walking down the road, walking down the beach. All of a sudden, he sees this wee bottle and he picks it up and he rubs, takes the barnacles off and rubs it. And pop, the cork pops out. There's a genie. The genie says, "You got 3 wishes." Peter's a wee bit in his cup, says, 3 wishes. "I like a bottomless bottle of Guinness." "Done," says the genie. Goes back home and there's this bottle of Guinness sitting there on the step of his front of his house. Goes in, he fills up a cup, fills up another cup, fills up a pitcher, fills up a couple 4-quart pots, fills up the bathtub, calls all his friends over, has a great time. They're drinking out of this empty bottle of this bottomless bottle of Guinness for, a couple of weeks. And finally his friends, Gary and Shannon say, "Peter, you got the 3 wishes. That was only 1. Oh, man, I got to go back." So he goes back on the beach to get the genie room to expand. He rubs the bottle. The genie expands. "You have 2 more wishes." "Right. I've been thinking about this." "All right. That bottomless bottle of Guinness you gave me?" "Right," says the genie. "Give me 2 more just like it." Some of you's got it. So if there's kids here, in Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first laid my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. Wheeled the wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and sure it was no wonder, sure were her father and mother before. They all wheeled the barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, with cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, with cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of the fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. And now the ghost wheels the barrow through streets broad and narrow, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first laid my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled the wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Thanks. I'm going to ask my partner, Anna, to come up and do Tell Me Ma with me. So Anna teaches at the University of Hawaii, but she is known for her singing also. So this is the first time we've ever gotten on the same stage together to sing. So give it up for us.
Thank you.
We didn't decide on the key. Tell me, Ma, when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pulled my hair and stole my comb. That's all right till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she? Arthur Mooney says he loves her, all the boys are crazy for. Knock on the door and ring on the bell, and oh my true love, are you well? Out she comes as white as snow, and bells in her toe. Oh, Johnny Morrissey says she'll die, done get the fellow with the roving eye. Tell me, Ma, when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pulled my hair and stole my comb, well that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she? Tell me. You got it. So when we get to that, she is courting, you can say 1, 2, 3. What's good? Let the moon and the rain and the hail go high, and the soul come traveling through the sky. She's as sweet as apple pie, she'll get her own life by and by. When she gets a boy of her own, she won't get a love when she gets home. On the all come out they will, it's Arthur Mooney she loves still. Tell me, Ma, when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled my hair and stole my comb, that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the bird of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she? Let the wind and the rain and the sail go high, as hope come traveling through the sky. She's as sweet as apple pie, she'll get her own lap by and by. When she gets a boy of her own, she won't tell her mother when she gets home. Let them all come as they will, it's Arthur Mooney she loves still. Tell me now, when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled my hair and stole my comb, that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3. Please don't you tell me who is she? Oh, tell me now when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled my hair and stole my comb, that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she?
Sure.
You want to tell them about it?
All right. Well, this is a song about foolish people. We found a really great Irish kids song CDs, and some of them are really dark. This is one of the little lighter ones.
Yeah. It's called When I Was Young.
Yeah, When I Was Young. Why did he go? Oh,
sorry.
right.
So you can sing along with, 'cause he was a fool and a great big fool, 'cause he was a fool and we all do say.
Why did he go and act that way? 'Cause he was a fool and a great big fool, 'cause he was a fool and we all do say. Old Farmer Matt got himself a cat, fed it so well it got awfully fat. The cat got lazy and the farmer did grouse, couldn't catch a rat and it couldn't catch a mouse. Why did he go and act that way? 'Cause he was a fool and a great big fool, 'cause he was a fool and we all do say. Old Farmer Ned got himself a hen, put it outside of the fox's den. Wait in the bed, and this he said, the fox and the hen will be great friends. Why did he go and act that way?
'cause he was a fool and a great big fool, 'cause he was a fool and we all do say.
Old Farmer Dan was a funny wee man. He washed his face with a frying pan, combed his hair with the leg of the chair, and he took it to bed as a teddy bear. Why did he go and act that way?
'Cause he was a fool and a great big fool, 'cause he was a fool and we all do say.
Old Farmer Born got himself a horn to wake him up in the chill of the morn. He always didn't know when he had to blow, 'cause he'd woken up when the cock did crow. Why did he go and act that way?
'Cause he was a fool and a great big fool, 'cause he was a fool and we all do say.
Old Farmer Dunn bought himself a gun, looked down the barrel to see how it was done. The very first try, and it got him in the eye, and he didn't have time for to say goodbye. Why did he go and act that way?
'Cause he was a fool and a great big fool, 'cause he was a fool and we all do say.
Thank you. Yeah, one more.
We're going to do this last song before taking a break, and then we're going to come back with a bunch of stories, funny stuff, and we're clapping along. A little bit more heartbreak if you're into that kind of thing. Yes, right. And you wouldn't be. Apparently, there's something. It's the drink. It's the drink that's in me.
Water is quite resonant.
I tell you that ginger turmeric. Okay, wish us luck. Support us because this is a long one, and we haven't done it on stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There were three sisters in the north. Lay the bend to the bonny broom, and they lived in their mother's house, and you'll beguile the lady soon. There came a man one evening late, lay the men to the bonny broom, and he came knocking at the gate, and you'll beguile the lady soon. The eldest sister let him in, lay the men to the bonny broom, and locked the door with a silver pin, and you'll beguile the lady soon. The second sister made his bed, lay the bed to the bonny broom, and laid soft pillows neath his head, and you'll beguile the lady soon. The youngest sister, fair and bright, lay the bed to the bonny broom. She lay beside him all through the night, and you'll beguile the lady soon. And in the morning come the day, lay the bed to the bonny broom. She said, young man, will you marry me? And you'll beguile the lady soon.
And he said, yes, I'll marry you. Lay the bed to the bonny broom, if you will answer this for me. And you'll beguile the lady soon. Oh, what is greener than the grass? Lay the bed to the bonny broom, and what is smoother than the glass? And you'll beguile the lady soon. And what is louder than a horn? Lay the bed to the bonny broom, and what is sharper than a thorn? And you'll beguile the lady soon. And what is deeper than the sea? Lay the bed to the bonny broom, and what is longer than the way? And you'll beguile the lady soon.
Envy's greener than the grass,
Lay the bed to the bonny broom,
flattery's smoother than a glass, and you'll beguile the lady soon. Rumors louder than a horn,
lay the bed to the bonny broom,
and slander sharper than a thorn, and you'll beguile the lady soon. Regret is deeper than the sea.
Lay the bend to the bonny broom,
But love is longer than the way, and you'll beguile the lady soon.
The eldest sister rang the bell. Lay the bend to the bonny broom. She rang it from the highest hill, and you'll beguile the lady soon. The second sister made the gown. Lay the bend to the bonny broom.
She sewed it on the silk so fine, and you'll beguile the lady soon. The youngest sister, fair and wise,
Lay the bend to the bonny broom.
They made of her a lovely bride, and you'll beguile the lady soon.
And now, fond friends, I bid adieu. Lay the bend to the bonny broom. These parting words I leave with you, and you'll beguile the lady soon.
May you always constant prove.
Lay the bend to the bonny broom, unto the one that you do love, and you'll beguile the lady soon.
I think we found the only child ballad with a happy ending.
So we're going to take a little break, and then we'll see you in a bit. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I have a rule with these musician friends of mine that you don't leave a song unfinished. Are you bringing me up or am I bringing you? There you go. So if you're following the story on that last song, during this break, I love this album. It's called Fairport Convention Liege and Leaf, and it's one of the great albums of all time in my extremely knowledgeable opinion. Sorry. I'm just going to go for it, right? So, I've been cooped up for 2 years, so I've had a lot of time to think about myself. So in that story, the guy, he deserts twice, and both times he's brought back, he's flogged first time he's flogged, second time they're going to execute him, and then when they're about to execute him, the prince rides up and says, "Oh, that guy would make a good soldier," and then they threw him back in the army. Speaking of the army, this first song is called Lowlands. On the night that I was married, and on my marriage bed, came Bonesy Hampton, and he stood at my bedside, saying, oh, rise, young wedded man, and come along with me to the lowlands of Holland for to fight the enemy. Oh, Holland is a lovely land, and on it grows fine grain. Surely 'tis a place of residence for a soldier to remain, where the sugar cane is plentiful, and the leaves grow upon every tree. Sure, I never had but one sweetheart, now she's far away from me. Said the mother to the daughter, give over your sore lament. Sure, there's many Galway to be your heart's content. If there's man enough in Galway, alas, there's none for me. Since these high winds and stormy seas have come between my love and me. I'm wearing a belt around my waist, no cowl in my hair, no handkerchief round my neck to grace my beauty fair. And never will I marry until the day that I die. Since these high winds and stormy seas have come between my love and I, and never will I marry until the day that I die. Since these high winds and stormy seas have come between my love and mine. Since these high winds and stormy seas come between my love and mine. At Banbridge Town, in the county down, one morning last July, down a Bowling Green, come a fair Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the ground of her nut brown hair. Saw to wince now that I shook myself to be sure I was standing there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Cave, and from Galway to Dublin Town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen. She's the star of the county down. As onward she sped, sure I turned my head and I looked with a feeling red. And I said, says I, to a passer-by, who's that girl with the nut brown hair? Well, he looked at me and with pride says he, that's the gem of Ireland's crown. The young Rosie McCann, from the banks of the Bann, she's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Cay, and from Galway to Dublin Town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen. She's the star of the county down. Well, at the harvest fair, she'll surely be there. I'll put on my Sunday clothes, with my hat cocked right and my shoes shine bright, for one smile from the nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke and no ox I'll yoke, though my plow turns rusty brown. I'm so smiling bright by my own firelight, sister star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Cay, and from Galway to Dublin Town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen. She's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Bay, and from Galway to Dublin Town. No maid I've seen like the fair Colleen. She's the star, she's the star, she's the star of the county down. She's the star, she's the star, she's the star of the county down. So I learned this story a little while ago. You know, there's tinkers, there's travelers everywhere. Tinkers are travelers in Ireland and Scotland, and then that tradition came over here. We're going to do two songs from the Tinker tradition, two tales from the Tinker tradition. First one is called The Coal, the Straw, and the Bean. And I call on my ancestors, I call on your ancestors to bring this story to us. So this story happened a long time ago. When did this story happen? Ah, that was good. I heard your voices. I'm not sure if your hands are moving, but a long time ago. This story happened a long time ago. This story happened a long time ago. When did it happen? When fire was hotter and ice was colder and birdsong more beautiful. Back then there was a old woman, and she didn't have anybody to take care of her, and she just had the wee little cottage, and she hardly had any food, and she hardly had anything to make a fire, and every day she just got hungrier and colder and older. It just so happened that this very poor woman lived right next to huge tracts of land owned by a very rich farmer. It just so happened that the farmer had brought in his beans and harvested his beans, and there was some pieces of straw out there, and there's some beans in the field, and she thought, I can go get that. I can go get some straw. I can make myself a little fire. And then she found the beans, and she was so excited, like 6 or 7 beans and maybe, a dozen pieces of straw. She's going to make a little fire and have a little bit of dinner, keep herself warm and fed. Who would come by but the very rich farmer, and said, "What are you doing in my land? What do you think you're doing? You're just picking up straw because you think you own the whole place, picking up my beans and all the straw and everything." She said, "I'm very sorry, sir. I just thought maybe it would be okay since you took the rest of yours. I could taste it." It absolutely is not okay. That is not acceptable. What kind of world do you think we're living in? And he went on and on and on about how inappropriate it was. And while he was doing that, the neighbor on the other side came riding by. He was horse, and in the back, in the cart, and in the cart he had a whole load of coal that he was taking to his house. And he saw the very rich farmer yelling at this poor woman, and he went over and said, "What's the problem, friend?" He says, "She is stealing my straw and some of my beans." Seriously? This is my property, and that's her property, and she should not come on my property. But you've already harvested it, right? Well, yes, I have. And you don't want those? Absolutely not. I don't want them. So it's probably okay for her to take it, right? Okay, just this once, but she has to promise not to come back. Do you promise nothing? I promise not to come back. The farmer walked away. The other neighbor looked at her and said, "I'm so sorry, but I know your situation. Maybe we can help you out. Maybe you can take this piece of coal, make yourself a nice fire." She was so excited. She took the straw. She went back home, the coal, she had the beans, she got a little bit of water, she put the beans in the water to soak before she cooked them. One of the little beans dropped out and was lying on the floor, little white bean lying on the floor. And as she was making the fire, broke the coal up in pieces, a little coal. Mixed it up. Some of the straw that she was making the fire with, the kindling, fell off by the bean. And then after she made the fire, the coal was crumbling, and some of the coal, a piece of the hot coal fell off. And so there on the floor, while she was cooking her food, getting ready to eat, there was the hot coal and the straw and the bean. And the coal said, what am I going to do? I'm going to lay here. I'm going to get cold. I won't really be myself anymore. I will lose all my heat. What do I do? And the straw says, yeah, like, and if I stay here, they're just going to throw me in the fire and I'll burn up. And the bean says, and I don't want to be eaten. And they looked at each other and they said, let's blow this pot stand. And the coal, the straw, and the bean walked out the door, went on down the road. Doesn't that seem a little unusual, folks? The coal, the straw, and the bean are walking down the road, right? Can beans walk? No. Can straw walk all by itself? No. Can coal walk all by itself? No. What a silly story. Anyway, off down the road, the coal, the straw, and the bean are having a great time. They're having a party. We're not going to have to listen to anybody. We don't have to go to bed when anybody tells us. I'm going to be a coal forever. I'm going to be a straw forever. I'm going to be a bean forever. Everybody, they're really happy. And then all of a sudden, while they're going down the road, they came to a little stream. How are they going to get across the stream? The coal said, I can't go across the stream. I'll become cold and I'll fall to the bottom. The straw said, I'll float away. And the bean said, I'll float away too. What are we going to do? The straw said, I'm just long enough that I can make a bridge for you. That's a great idea. So the straw laid itself down across the stream and the coal said, I'll go first because I'm heavier. Still burning, the coal. The coal hopped out to the middle of the straw, burnt right through the straw. The straw broke in two, floated away. The bean sat there for a second and then started laughing and laughing. He laughed so hard that he burst his belly. And he was lying there on the ground like, I can't what kind of world is this? These things happen. Just so happens that right at that moment, a tailor was walking by. He said, oh, look at that. There's a wee little bean there with his belly sticking out. I can help you. And he's goes through his needle, he got his needle, he got his thread, and he's all out of white thread because that's the thread he uses the most. But has a little black thread. He said, I'm sorry, little bean, I don't have any white thread, but I'm going to sew you up. Just sew me up, put my belly back in and sew me up, please. I'm so sorry. I was laughing at my friends when they fell in the water. It's okay. Put you back together. So the tailor sews the bean back together with the black thread. And then he left him there. And then after a little while, this guy came along and he was a tinker. Selling stuff, sell old XLR cables. He'd sell your hydro flask without the top, sell one sock, half of a shoelace, anything, just sell anything, just try to get by. And he looks and says, that is the most unusual thing I've ever seen. A white bean with a black stomach. That's incredible. I can do something with that. And he took it home and he found a farmer, and the farmer found it. The farmer took it and the farmer planted it. And then all these beans that nobody ever seen before that were white with black spots in the middle came up out of the ground, and everyone was completely amazed. And that's how black-eyed peas came to be.
Unbelievable!
And that's the story from when? When fire was hotter and ice was colder and chocolate was for breakfast. Well, that's crazy, isn't it? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's just silly, right? You thought that was silly. Listen to this. Hopefully you're still awake for the really silly story. So remember earlier, the second song I did in the first set was called Stick to the Creature. And, like many traditions, Hawaiian tradition, American folk tradition, people take the song, the melody, and they write new words for it. So these are new words written to that same melody. And after this, I'm going to ask for Anna's help again. Can you please give it up for Anna Stirr? Come, sit down a while, and I'll sing you some phrases, recall faded glories, and honor the dead. And I hope that a smile will crack all of your faces and careless and worry escape from your head. I'll sing of some lads of exceptional quality, all of them geniuses truly unique, and a gambler would bet the last bill in his wallet. The guys that I sing of are classical Greeks. For philosophy, mighty and pure cogitation, there's none to compare with the classical Greeks. If thinking were drinking and jollification, an ocean of booze would have lasted a week. Democritus, Plato, and good old Pythagoras, Zeno, Protagoras too. Don't forget Aristotle, his blood should be bottled for starting the whole philosophical crew. Now Homer composed a poetical potion of versification, the best in the world. He juxtaposed Greeks and athletical Trojans into the equation. He added a girl. He called it the Iliad, rhyming until he had filled up his brain in a 10-gallon hat. When he started the Odyssey, friends said, "Oh God, is he going to remember a mouthful like that?" Hippocrates, surely the first of physicians, gave medical science a shot in the arm. A doctor, he said, should obey one condition: whatever you do, don't you do any harm. His mother approved of his fine occupation. His virtues were lauded by friends far and near, but he secretly grieved that his earthly duration preceded the golf club by 2,000 years. So here's to this classical civilization. May songs in its honor forever be sung. May each singer be given a standing ovation, and may each singer be given a standing ovation, and glorification from each other long. An age of pure gold and effect in their billions, and soon we are told the hoy don't want the pot, for though genius infected these beasts by the millions, not one MBA graced the whole sorry lot. Now that we got you clapping, we're going to do another clapping song. Great. Do you want to help us?
Yeah.
Can you count to 4?
You can.
Good. Can you count to 2?
Yeah.
Can you count to 1?
Yeah.
Okay. So first we're going to do 4 claps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 2 claps. 1, 2. Then 1 clap.
We got it.
It's fun, right? Did you hear that, folks?
It's fun.
Leave your job. Leave your job on the... So the chorus goes, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Will I play the wild rover? No, never, no more. And you can whack one of those coolers too if you feel like it. It's so incredibly civilized to play these songs in this situation. It's great. Thank you so much. I've been a wild rover for many's the year, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer. Oh, sorry, family show. I've been a wild rover, and that is my ilk, and I spent all my money on cookies and milk. But now I'm returning with a golden gray star, and I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. You can clap whenever you want. Yeah, 7, 8, whatever. I went to a nail house I used to frequent, and I told the landlady my money's all spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Such a custom as yours I can have any day, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. Well, I took from my pocket 10 gold coins bright, and the landlady's eyes open wide with delight. She said, I got whiskey, higher of the best, and the words that I spoke, they were only in jest, and it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I go home to my parents and confess what I've done, and I'll ask them to pardon their prodigal son. And if they caress me as oft times before, I will never play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. Good job.
Not safe.
So I left this, I made a set list, and it's a dutiful musician, and of course I left it in the dressing room, so figure out what we're doing. This is a song I don't get to do much. It's another immigrant song. Oh, I know what we're doing. Yes, I'm going to do Back Home in Derry. Yes, I do need it. So now, hopefully you're feeling brave enough to sing. The chorus is, oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. I wish I was back home in Derry. So after the 1798 uprising, there are many times that the Irish tried to throw off the yoke of British oppression, and some, most of them until 1920 or so failed. And the guys that led those rebellions were often treated or either executed. These guys were sent off to Tasmania, which is another word for Van Diemen's Land, is another word for Tasmania. The song was written by Bobby Sands while he was in a hunger strike in Armagh prison. The words were written on cigarette papers and smuggled out, and my friend Derek Warfield has those cigarette papers. He was a big fan of Gordon Lightfoot, so Christy Moore got permission to put it to a tune like Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. In 1803 we sailed out to sea. We were bound for the sweet town of Derry. With Australia bound if we didn't all drown. The marks of our feathers we carry. With our rusty iron chains we'd cry for our wains. The good wind we laughed in sorrow as the mainsails unfurled and the curses we hurled at the English and thoughts of tomorrow. At the mouth of the foil bid farewell to the soil, as down below decks we were lying. Why a darty scream woken out of a dream, by a vision of old Robert dying. While the sun burned us cruel as we fished our crew, Connor was down with the favor. Since rebels today bound for Botany Bay, how many will reach every seeker? Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Why cursed into hell as the bow front to swell, there should dance like a moth in the fire. White horse passed by as the devil rode high, taking souls to Hades by twilight. 5 weeks out to sea, we were now 43. We buried our comrades each morning. In our own time, we were lost in the time of an endless night without dawning. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Van Diemen's Land is a hill for man to live out his whole life in the slavery, where the climate is raw and the gun makes the law. Neither wind nor the rain care for bravery. 20 years have gone by, I've ended my bond. Comrades ghosts walk beside me. As a rebel I came, and I'm still the same. On the cold winds of night you will find me. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. This is from earlier in that rebellion when they were a little bit more hopeful. Well, then tell me, Sean O'Farrell, tell me why you hurry so. We walked the horse and listened, and his cheeks were all in woe. I got ordered from the top and get you ready, quick and soon. The pike upon your shoulder by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. The pike upon your shoulder by the rising of the moon. By the rising like upon your shoulder by the rising of the moon. Out from that down where the gathering is to be. The ultimate by the river, quite unknown to you and me. One more sing the broken whistle up the marching tune. The bright will be together by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. The bright will be together by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. The pipes will be together by the rising of the moon. Out from the moon of the cloud and eyes watching through the night. And when the harvest sun pouring wide the morning light, where the spots along the valley like the banshees on the coon. 1,000 pipes were flashing by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. 1,000 pipes were flashing by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. 1,000 pipes were flashing by the rising of the moon. Far beside the sea, river that dark massive remember sea. Above their shining winds hung their own beloved green. Death to every foe and traitor, whistle up the marching tune. Hurrah, my boy, for freedom and the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. Hurrah, my boy, for freedom and the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, the rising of the moon. Hurrah, my boy, for freedom and the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. Hurrah, my boy, for freedom and the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. Hurrah, my boy, for freedom and the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. Good on you, nice job. Let's see, we come to the end. It's incredible. So many other songs. And Finnegan lived in Walking Street. He had a bent, gentle Irish and mighty God. He had beautiful growth, rich and sweet. No, I don't think I'll do that. Let's see. Here's a song I wrote about Manoa, based on an Irish melody, a bit of an Irish melody. In the hills of Manoa, the valley of streams, the hills of Manoa, where I found my dream, the hills of Manoa, of my heart and mind, the valley of rainbows, valley of wind. In the hills of Manoa I often have known the sadness of parting and being alone. But now as I venture into its green vale, in the hills of Manoa our love will prevail. In the hills of Manoa we oft times have walked, the sweet conversations of love we didn't talk, while the birds in the woodland so sweetly didn't sing, and the young child voices fill the meadows with song. In the hills of Manoa, the valley of rain, I know you will abide me and yet come again. In the hills of Manoa, of my heart and mind, the valley of rainbow, the valley of wind. You've been wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Chunji, again. Please hands in for Jason Forrester and for Cynthia, Lori, and everybody else that does all the things that are necessary. The boys parking the cars. Goldie, the chicken. Such a sweetie. We finished with this wonderful love song from singing Linda Thompson. You came in from the dark, just a crazy old man. His eyes seemed to glaze in with light. He was just some old hawker on the hook of his rags, coming from the cold of the night. And the whole room was dancing, they paid no mind, as he stepped to the bar and said, please be so kind. And the music was ringing in the back of his mind. No telling what a love song will do. As the queen of the barroom sang her favorite song, he stood with his glass in his hand. He was weary of singing, weary of living the days of his life, and tonight was the last he could stand. He let go of the future, he let go of the past, and even the present was running out fast. As she stepped to the mic, said, make this last, no telling what a love song will do. As she started to sing for the very last time, he trembled as he stood there alone. And the pain he'd been feeling inside for so long, just fell from his heart and was gone. It was only a love song, so simple and clear, but he cried as it shook him with every last tear, and he cried from relief, and he cried half from fear. No telling what a love song will do. Well, the queen of the barroom still glitters and shines each night, the old times say. And maybe it's something they put in the wine, but her beauty refuses to fade. Well, I heard she got married to a stranger, they say, just a crazy old man who came passing one day, and the whole town still dances and the music still plays. No telling what a love song will do. No telling what a love song will do. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Kind friends and companions, come join me in rhyme. Come lift up your voices in chorus with mine. Come lift up your voices, oh grief to refrain. For we may and might never all meet here again. Here's a health to the company and a one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain. For we may and might never all meet here again. Our ship lies at harbor, she's ready to dock. I wish her safe landing without any shock. And if ever I see you by land or by sea, I will always remember your kindness to me. So here's a health to the company and a one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain. Where we may and might never all meet here again. So here's a health to my company and a one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain. For we may and might never all meet here again. But I hope we do.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Thank you all for supporting Vital Living. Reminder that tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon, there will be another service here for Vital Living in particular. Everyone is invited. Please check us out online. This concert will be streamed on YouTube under Vital Living's page, as are several other concerts that you enjoyed tonight. And remember, all the proceeds tonight do go to the musicians. So please make sure you see Tunji and donate for the evening. Thank you all and drive safe home. Good night.
My lovely partner.